हम्म। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवम्. I think it is now. I have to change. It's Ramayana, right? So that's fine. We'll shift, right? लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये। There you go. So yeah, I go in the flow of, so वसुदेव सुतम देवम निकल जाता है गीता के उससे, रामायण पढ़ रहे हैं तो राम जी की बात. So yeah, we'll just do few minutes of recap what we did last time, and then will move forward. So last time we saw that, so there are many Ramayana, and this was what our reference is, Valmiki and Tulsi Ramcharitmanas, which is Tulsi Ramayana is Ramcharitmanas they call. We'll see why it is Ramcharitmanas. So we saw that there are many Ramayana, but originally it is Valmiki Ramayana, and then India में many languages, not only Sanskrit. Valmiki ji wrote regional languages. Ramayana are there. Kamba Ramayana in Tamil, and then there is a Adivasi Ramayana also there is, which is, I was reading somewhere that Ramayana, I didn't get the script, but about that is written somewhere in the Arunachal and Assam type, that area. They have their own Ramayana, Adivasi, because they are mostly tribal people. And very interesting is that somewhere it is written in that Ramayana, because when they are writing, translating into regional, they put the regional flavor also, like our traditions. When there are regional flavors, so they added. So one incident I was reading somewhere, it says that because they are tribals, right? So Vibhishan was angry with Vanar because they were tribes, and Vibhishan came from a kingly royal family. So he was not adjusting with them. He yelled at, and then it says that Bhagwan Ram gussa ho gaye. And then Bhagwan Ram yelled at Vibhishan, why are you yelling at Vanaras? Now because they put their own flavor, because they are Adivasis. For them, Ram is for us. So that is the beauty of this character Ram. It fits everywhere. As the bandwidth is, I mean, unlimited bandwidth. It's not like there is no limit, unlimited. It fits everywhere. And that's what last time I said, that it fits in Granth Sahib, it fits in Ramcharitmanas. Granth Sahib 2000 times Bhagwan Ram. Kabir, it fits with Kabir Das ji. So that is Ramayana. That's what we like. I always, when think of Rishi Valmiki, I mean, we are so blessed that someone born in our family, our ancestors, that who could do this. The entire world is enjoying that character Ram, because Valmiki ji came up with that. So there are multiple Ramayana, many languages. We saw that, right? And then still people are translating, but the core remains the same. Message remains the same. The Tulsi Ramayana is one of the most popular because of, as I said last time, very unique character Tulsidas ji, that Tulsidas ji translated Ramayana. That was the worst time even Hindu Sanskriti or Bharat is facing. Mughal invaders came, and that was Akbar's time. So the Hindus were facing Hindus and Bharat itself. And that time he composed, he translated. So that's a credit goes to him. And with pure bhakti. And it was not easy for him. He was opposed by Hindus, the scholars, he was opposed by, of course, the Mughals, and he completed that. So, and the best part is that Tulsidas ji never deviated from the Sanatan Dharma. He kept saying in the Ramayana, I'm translating, but it is Sanatan Dharma Shastra. Actually, short of Tulsidas ji had not used the word, but in some sense, he has said that it is the Arsh Shastra. Because Arsh means which is written by rishis, or which is like conceptualized by rishis. That is Arsh Vidya. That's why we call it all our Vedic Vidya is Arsh Vidya. So for me, even Tulsidas ji's Ramcharitmanas is also Arsh Vidya. because Tulsidas ji could do that in that difficult time. And then he maintained this is a Sanatan Dharma Shastra. So that was, so we saw Ramayana, and then again we see anytime itihas. Itihas means itiha as. It's like that. Thus, it happened like that. So Valmiki ji just described what was happening. That was itihas. But so there is slight different when we see when Valmiki ji wrote Ramayana, we'll see that story also. It was mostly Karun ras. Karun means compassion. There are 9 ras in our Shastra. So anything written or composed, there is a ras. So mostly it was Karun ras, compassion, or both compassion and suffering. Because Bhagwan Ram went through a lot of suffering, and the people went through suffering, and Valmiki himself went through suffering. That's why he composed, right? So it was predominantly Karun ras. But look at then when it has come to Tulsidas ji, all these years. So Tulsi, by that time, there was a bhakti movement in Bharat. From 1300 century it started. Tulsidas ji 1500 century. So Tulsidas ji has added in that Shrangar Ras. Tulsidas ji added Adbhut Ras. So Tulsidas ji and Tulsidas ji added Bhakti Ras also. Bhakti is not part of Navras, but he added. So that's why it is so popular in Jan Manas, because Tulsidas ji wanted to write it for, of course, he was enjoying, he said, Atma Sukha hai or Swanta Sukha hai, but Bahujan Hita is happening. So that's because he was writing for Jan Manas, so he added that Bhakti Ras. So that's why Ramcharit Manas is so popular, because it has not just Karuna Ras, it is not just Veer Ras, it has Bhakti Ras also, and that's why it is so popular. So that was like we last time, I mean, there are more details, but last time we saw that, right? And as I said, like one incident we'll touch, and then we'll move forward. There is a person, his name is Vijayendra Rao. He is a father of Rajmouli, who made Bahubalis. All those Bahubali movies are made Rajmouli. Rajmouli's father is Vijayendra Rao. He is the script writer. He wrote many scripts. Of course, many South Indian movies he wrote about Rama and other. But Bahubali, he wrote. In fact, the Bajrangi Bhaijaan, Manikarnika, all those written by Vijayendra Rao. So I was listening to one of his interview. Somebody was asking that you write the script, which is always talking about something big in Bharat's itihas. So where do you get this inspiration? Look at his movies, are huge. That Bahubali is taking Shivling, a big Bahubali, big Shivling, and all both huge characters, and always itihas. He is bringing the name also. So Vijayendra Rao, somebody he asked, so he said, very nice answer. He said that Indian psyche, it's in our DNA, Indian Chetana, is deeply influenced by Ramayana and Mahabharata, because that's our itihas. So anytime you bring that character, even what we see these days, every other year there will be a new Ramayana on TV, and people are watching it. New Mahabharata, people are watching it. One episode. So that's what Vijayendra says. I derive my script. It is influenced, it is inspired by Ramayana and Mahabharata. So he'll create a new character, but you'll see Bahubali Bhim or Hanumanji like that. So in fact, the RRR movie, at the end, it was all Bhagwan Ram. When he was fighting with Britishers or Tir Chala Gaya, he brought Bhagwan Ram into that. So that RRR movie. Like, so that is the depth of Ram that character is in. It is never going to go away. So that's we just briefly touch on that, the itihas of, we saw like last time. So there are 4 things in itihas, P, like period, place, people, and principles, and that is any itihas, and that's Ramayana especially is deep or very strong on that. So yeah, we saw, now we'll move to the next part of it, right? So we'll still have to cover some more about before getting into the Katha part. So Tulsidas ji, when he wrote, he has translated it into Katha also. Valmiki ji was writing like Ram Ayan, Yatra. Ayan means Yatra. So he is writing as things are happening, itihas. The Yatra is happening, he is documenting. और थोड़ा आगे पीछे करके, but he is documenting where they. Tulsidas ji has given the name Ramcharit Manas. Charit means, of course, character. Manas means the mind. So in my mind, this character is playing like that. So look at that. He is not saying कि Ram is doing some yatra. Ram मेरे मानस में है. That's why he is titled Ramcharitmanas. Actually, he has written, he is, this word in Tulsi Ramayana come from the mouth of Bhagwan Shiv, but it is Tulsidas ji has put imagination and his visualization of Bhagwan Shiv. So he says that is Ramcharitmanas. So it is Katha. And very nicely, there is a scholar, Abhi to wo hai nahi, Ram Kinkar Upadhyay ji. He was a scholar of Ramayana. I remember that I heard this when I was 15-year-old. He was talking about Katha is nothing like a setu. Setu means bridge. And very nice example he gives, I still remember that. He says that if there is an ocean, suppose, or there is a river, if you have to cross, there's only one way. If you should know swimming, and you can swim across. But if you don't know swimming, or it is too wide or too, you cannot cross because you don't have. Or some people can do that who are afford to do that, or who have their own boats. They can do that. If I have my own boat, I can cross. But what about common Janmanas? How common people will? And he gives example how an ant will cross this ocean. So, but if there is a setu, if there is a bridge, then even ant can cross the river. So he says कि हम लोग like the devotees like ant, छोटे छोटे हम लोग तो we can also cross this river, and that is this ocean, this Manas Sarovar. So that's what he said, and the Katha is a setu. So whenever we hear Katha, of course there is a mediator sitting who's narrating the Katha, the narrator, but it is all between you and Bhagwan. That's why हमारी कथाएं सब like all our katha is like that. Satyanarayan katha, me and Satya. We don't understand. That's why we don't get what the purpose is. That you and Bhagwan. That's it. Shiv Puran sun rahe hain. Now you are listening the katha, but you are through katha you are reaching Bhagwan Shiv. So katha is a setu, bridge. So that's what Tulsidas ji did that. Tulsidas ji made it a katha. So even Janmanas, common man, and that's the reason this katha itself is a lok sangrah. Bhagwan Ram's character we saw like number of times he'll be called as Lokpati, lok sangrah, well-being of all. That's what Tulsidas ji did. So yeah, so again, so what we'll do, we'll just very quickly touch base on the Phal Shruti one more time. Last time I could not complete it. We'll do that Phal Shruti. So there are one shlok which is from Valmiki Ramayana. I didn't read that last time, but I just referred. So Phal Shruti means anytime we are listening to the katha. Let's stick to katha, not to the discourse or big academic exercise. Katha means kathan, of course. Something is being said. So katha has that bhakti ras also, like that. So katha. So katha, when you listen to katha, there is something going to happen. Phalashruti means, yeah, something has to change in me. So that's what Valmiki ji says. There is a shlok here. Actually not Valmiki, Sutaji said, if you listen to Ramayana. Sutaji is another character like Naradji who is always available. He is like a chat GPT of that time. Ask any question, Sutaji will have the answer, right? Ekdam perfect answer. You ask Bhagavatam, you ask Shiv Puran, Sutaji will tell exactly. Or 4-5 rishi sitting all the time with their phone and just putting the question and Sutaji is giving the answer. It's like that. So Suji says that dharma artha kama mokshanam sadhanam cha dvij uttamaha. Dvij uttama means he is telling to the rishis. Rishis are asking, what is, if we finish the katha, what will happen? That's a very standard for every katha. And Suji is the answer. And he says, Shrotavyam cha sada bhaktya ramayanam paramratam. He says, if you listen to this katha, bhaktya, now that word has come, bhaktya, with devotion, devotion has to be there, otherwise it's just academic exercise. People write commentary on Ramayana and then they fight because they don't understand why Ram did this, why Sita ji. This is katha is like already you have that shraddha and bhakti now. So he's saying that is amrit roop, and what it will do, dharma artha kam mokshanam. So dharma And moksha will get it if that calm and earth are within the boundary of dharma. Then only moksha can be achieved. So that's what Ramayana. So when we read Ramayana, we read the character of Ram Bhagwan, Sita ji, Lakshman ji, Hanuman ji, and there are values which we, and that's the reason over the years, thousands of times we are listening to this katha, and it changes, bring changes in us. That's the whole purpose of katha. So they are saying it's like Amrit. Amrit means fear, death. Death means fear. Simple term. Death means fear. Amrit means fearlessness. It's not like nectar. So listening to this katha, you get the abhayam. And abhayam is the best quality. I mean, anybody can want to be the abhayam. So that's what he's saying, ki that is the phal shruti. Valmiki ji. Now I'll come back to Tulsidas ji. That's the maja. How Tulsidas ji is defining. Last, at the end of Tulsi Ramcharitmanas, he says, there is one shlok, at the last one, at the last. He says, Srimad Ramcharit Manasam idam bhaktya bhaktyavagahanti ye te sansara patang ghora kirne na dahyanti no manava. Sanskrit. So Siddhaji, not when he is Ramcharit Manas, he's brought very good Sanskrit. This is very, so it is in Sanskrit, not Avadhi. What he is saying, this Ramcharit Manasam idam, this is Ramcharit Manas. This is like in your consciousness, man, Ramcharit is sitting. Manas means, he says, and he says, same word he has used, Bhaktya Gavanti. If you take a deep dive into this through bhakti, then what you get, he says, Sansara Patang Ghor Kirane. Patang means Surya. So he's saying the sun rays are so powerful that if you are outside, they'll burn you. He says Sansar is like that. Same, that earth and calm. Earth and calm are like that. They can just burn, and we all know that, right? We can just get burned by those. So Tulsidas is saying the one who take a deep dive in Ram Katha will be protected by the power or that intensity of sun rays, protected because of the Ram Katha. Because you take, जैसे अभी बहुत गर्मी होती है तो you take a jump into swimming pool. When there is very hot, you see people are jumping into river, and he says when the sansar is troubling you, take a deep dive into this Ramcharitmanas, Mansarovar, and just then you are not hurt by those like hot sun or the ray. So same thing he is saying, but now because he is saying the katha, then he brought it to a common man's level. And Valmiki ji is saying when it was a Vedic period, so he's talking about dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Tulsidas ji is simply saying, like sun rays will burn you if you take a deep dive into this sarovar or the lake, then you will be saved. And there's just one more, and we'll move to next topic. Tulsidas ji has used the word when Ramcharitmanas, at the end of every chapter, our acharyas have write what happened. Same thing in Valmiki Ramayana. So Valmiki Ramayana, he has used was ayan or sarg. Sarg means a section or part. So yatra has part too. Yatra is broken into like sections. So he's saying whenever chapter ends, he says, "Oh, this kand samaptam or sarg samaptam." So that means there is a section of yatra. Tulsidas ji, when he says, when you next time you read, you can see yourself. He says that then, Sri Ramcharitmanas Sakal Kalishu Vidvanse Saptam Sopana Samapt. When he ends the chapter, he says Sopan. So ayan is yatra. There is a continuous walking or some like movement. And sopan means CD. Sopan means steps. So now he is saying this take, and in India when we go to like spiritual places, there is a pond. उसमें नीचे जाना पड़ता है. कहीं भी तीर्थ स्थान पे आप जाइए, like अमृतसर जाइए, कहीं भी महाकाल, you have to go step down, go into the sarovar. There is always a sarovar. You take a dip into that. So you have to go down. So he's saying sopan. So he's saying take the steps and go down into the sarovar, and then you will be protected. So that's what the difference between both are saying the same thing, but Tulsidas is saying like now in this 1500 500 years ago, that was 1000 years ago. So that's what the Falshruti is. The Falshruti in both case same. You will get Amrit. Here he said, you will go into Sarovar and you will be protected by all the problems of the world. So that was actually Falshruti. Last time I didn't completed that, but so now we move to before we get into the Katha part. Last time we talked about anytime we do something new, or if I had to go to some place, I ask, oh, what is the highlight of that place? If I want to, or I want to read a book, somebody says read this book. Then the question is, what is the theme? What are the characters in this book or movie? If you go, what are the? So here are also. So we talked about last time. Bhagwan Ram is a character. Look at that. He said you have to go to Vanvas. You are supposed to be coronated, and he said that's fine. What's the problem here? Why are you so worried? You could have told me Bharat can be king. Yeah, Bharat deserves more than me. So that is the perseverance, Dhrati. So that's why Bhagwan's title is Rama Vigrahavan Dharma. He is the embodiment of Dharma. He is Dharma himself. Many times he's called Dharmadhi, Dharmarakshak, Dharmavatsal, like that. But there is another character, Sita ji. So it is Sita Ramayana. So we just take one incident from Sita ji's in like here in Rama, and when we reach, we'll read that. But right now, I'll just take one incident from Sita ji. So many titles are given to Sita ji in both Valmiki and Tulsi Ram, many other Ramayana. Tejaswini, Manaswini. In fact, Janak ji called her Veer Shulka. We'll talk about when we reach there. The Dhanush, during the Dhanush, like people wanted to marry Sita ji, so title was given to Janak by Janak ji. Veer Shulka. We'll see when we reach there what that means. So a lot of title given, very powerful lady like that, Manaswini. So here is one shloka, I'll read it, which shows how powerful she is. Manaswini, she has her own thinking power. It's not, we see the movie, she's walking behind Ramji, and then gaane vaane bana diye, oh, she's walking. That's fine. I mean, there is a reason she's behind, but she has her own thinking, she has her own strength, right? So here is one shlok which tells what exactly. So what happens when Ramchandra ji is ready to go to Vanvas, and he tells Sita ji, you stay here, I'm going, and you have to take care of mother Kaushalya and Kaikeyi, and then Bharat and Shatrughan are like your sons, because you are your bhabhi, so you're like mother. So you stay here and take care of them. And and he is convincing Sita ji. So there is a shlok, I'll read that tells Sita ji's character, right? And he's saying, Bhagwan is telling Sita ji how to behave with the people left, right? With the people of Ayodhya, do like this, and he is giving her all the lecture. If I'm going, but you do these kind of things. So now look at the shlok, very interesting. And he says, Sita ji saying to Ramchandra ji, right? He says, I'm coming with you, but then she's giving her logic. अनुशिष्टास्मि मात्रा च पिता च विविधाश्रयः नास्मि संप्रति वक्तव्या वर्तितव्यम यथा मया. She is saying in this shlok that how to behave with whom, I know that. Why? Because my mother, father taught me all the traits. They taught me how to behave with people, and not only one. I have learned everything from my mother and father. He used the word vivid ashrayam, many subjects, many topics. So, and then she's saying, I know that. Very hard, like hard word. She says, Nasmi samprati vaktavya. I don't need any lecture this time. Vaktavya. She's saying to Ramji, don't give me lecture. I know whom to behave with what, right? What time. Vartitavyam yathame. I know that. So don't tell me. Then Ramji stopped. We'll see when we reach. But that is the character Sita ji. It's not that she just gaane bana diye ki piche like Brahma Jiva which Maya jaisi. That's fine. I mean, there's all those things have their place when we read Katha. But she has her own personality and character. So that is Sita ji. So when we read Ramayana, we have to keep in mind these two characters. There are more characters will come, but definitely Ramji and Sita ji, it is Sita Ramayana. Both have equal role to play. And just I'll read one more shlok from Tulsidas ji. Now Tulsi house, Valmiki has defined Sita ji like that, Manaswini. Now look at what Tulsidas ji is saying. Yeah, बहुत बढ़िया. I mean, Tulsidas ji is, I mean, he takes from Valmiki ji and present it in a very different way, but the same thing. Now Tulsidas ji is saying in the beginning of the Bal Kand, where he is just doing the Vandana of Shivji, Vandana of Shankarji, Bhavani, then he's doing Vandana of Sita ji. So he's saying, Udbhav Sthiti Samhar Karinim, Klesh Harinim, no Sanskrit. Tulsidas ji is also using Sanskrit very well, actually, very nicely. Udbhav Sthiti Samhar Karinim, Klesh Harinim, Sarvashes Karim Sitam, Nato Aham Ram Vallabham. He says, I do pranam to Ram Vallabha Sita. Vallabha is here. Hey, Vallabha, you're there? Yes, she's there. Vallabha?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, see, look at your name has come here.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Tulsidas is saying, Nato Aham Ram Vallabham. मैं राम वल्लभा सीता को प्रणाम करता हूँ. So good. Look at that, right? So he's saying Udbhav Sthiti. Shakti has three roles. We know that. Bhagwan's, that's why she Shiv Shakti. Shakti has three roles. Bhagwan. So what? Udbhav, the manifestation, not creation. Srajan, manifestation. Sthiti, sustenance, and Samha Karini, Pralaya, whenever needed. So that is Shakti, that is Bhagwan Shakti, and that is Sita ji. Tulsidas ji is saying, Klesh Harinim, she removes all the afflictions, all the sufferings. Klesh means troubles, pain, all this is called Klesh. Panch Klesh are there. Panch Klesh means Agyan, Abhinivesh, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh, Avidya, Smita. They're Panch Klesh. Patanjali says that. Sarva Shreyas Karim. When you do puja of Sita ji, Shreyas you get. And that's what Shreyas means, which is well-being, Lok Sangra. And that is Sita ji. So what a wonderful stuti Sita ji. So look at that. Valmiki ji has said something about Sita ji, and here Tulsidas ji. They are saying the same thing in a different way. And that is what Tulsidas ji's beauty like. He's a gem of scholar, we can say. But he's using Sanskrit also here. Right? So again, going back to that, this is Ramcharitmanas. Ramayana is also a Arsh Shastra. Arsh means there is Swamiji's ashram, Arsh Vidya Gurukulam in America. And I used to go a lot when Swamiji was there. He's no more. So he established that Arsh Vidya. Arsh Vidya means the Vidya which has originated from Rishis. The Rishi word, the Arsh means which has come from Rishis. That is Arsh. Valmiki ji was Rishi. Tulsidas ji was Rishi. So whatever they are saying is Arsh Vidya. Arsh Vidya people get frightened. Arsh Vidya means only some people can do sitting in somewhere place. Yeah, I mean, of course, that is, they have done a good job and they do that. But this is all Arsh Vidya. So what we are reading is not ordinary some writing. It is Arsh Vidya. For Hindus it is, and that's what Tulsidas ji maintained that. He is not deviating from that Sanatan Dharma principle. So with that, Sita ji's character also we talked about. Ramji we already know, Vigrahavan Dharma, Sadhu Satya Parakrama. So whenever we go to this Katha, whatever incidences happen, we have to keep that in mind. If they are doing something, there is a shlok in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter. Bhagavan says, Na buddhi vedam janayeda ajnanam karma sanginam. That Bhagavan says the person who's knowledgeable, Vidwan yukta samachara, joshayet sarva karmani. Vidwan's role is to continue to behave as the normal people behave. Don't misguide them. Oh, don't cry. No, but change them. They bring them out of that suffering. Not just saying, oh, suffering is not required. Oh, you don't cry. No. So that's what. So when we read in Ramayana, a lot of people are, oh, Bhagwan Ram is crying. He said, I have come as a human being avatar. My wife I am looking for, I had to cry. So it is, but we have to keep that character, Ram. It is Dharma Murti or Dharma Vatsal or many a title, Dharmadhi. Same thing, Sita ji, Manaswini, Tejaswini, Veer Shulka. So those characters, and then they go through normal because they are telling us how to navigate those things, how to navigate when problem comes in life. That is the purpose of Ramayana. That's what Ramayana, for thousands of years, people are reading Ramayana. And it is not a joke statement that you get Mana Shanti. You get Mana Shanti if you read Ramayana properly. You get Mana Shanti. That's what Valmiki ji, Tulsidas ji is saying. Yeah, so but that is Sita ji's character. Now we'll move to the next part of it. Now, so now Valmiki ji is, one day he was doing his puja, and after finishing his puja, Valmiki ji just walking and then he saw on the branch of a tree. It's a famous story. I think, I'm sure many of us read that story in many times, well, in our childhood also. I mean, I used to read a story and used to feel very like both way. Karun, because that's a Karuna story, compassion. There is a, so Valmiki ji is walking and there are two birds sitting on the branch of a tree and they're just like chirping and enjoying. And there is a hunter. He shoots one of the bird and the bird fell and died. So other bird is crying and Valmiki ji saw this. So he looked at he yelled at hunter, "What did you do that?" And he yelled at and he cursed the hunter. While cursing, he was maybe coming out of puja and meditation. Some few word of karuna, shok means like grief, came from his mouth, and he cursed him. But then he realized I should not have cursed him. But because the karuna of that bird, the crying bird, suffering, Valmiki ji, the emotion came out of Valmiki ji. Because Valmiki, that's why we call him Adi Kavi. He is the original poetry. And our Shastra are mostly written like mantra. There is a poetry, there is a reason. So poetry is bhav. So Valmiki ji's bhav came that why did you do that? But then he realized, oh, I should not have. When he goes to his shishya there, he said something came out of my mouth out of shok. Shok means grief. But that was very, very interesting. Something what came out of my mind. There was a phonetic, there was a, like we call it meter or chand, right? It was some chand kind of thing. So Shishya said, definitely. Then he was very upset that, oh, why did I do? And then typically there were stories of Brahmaji came, he said, what happened? He said, I did this and I feel very bad. So Brahmaji said, no, there is always a reason for things. हमारे यहाँ इसीलिए कहते हैं होई है वही जो राम रचि राखा को करी तर्क बड़ा वही सका कुछ न कुछ कारण होता है राम जी को पता है हमारी मदर जो थी वो तो पक्की रामायणी थी शी यूज्ड टू से ऑलवेज कुछ होता था राम जी की मर्जी लाइक दैट वो जो करेंगे ठीक है सो ब्रह्मा जी सेज कि एवरीथिंग हैपेंस फॉर अ रीजन सो देयर वाज अ रीजन यू द श्लोक शोक से श्लोक हो गया शोक इट वाज ग्रीफ देन वर्ड श्लोक हैज कम श्लोक मीन्स expression emotion so there is a reason but Valmiki ji said I'm very feel bad about that he said okay do one thing Narad ji told you that katha you asked Narad ji question who's the character and Narad ji told you about the character Ram why don't you heard from him the entire life of that character why don't you write the whole thing and he said I can yeah you do that and because there is a reason that you have come up with the shlok that's why Ramayana is we call it Adi Kavya before Ramayana Vedic mantra were there but they were Vedic mantra it's very different using shlok there was a mantra so there is a difference between mantra shlok and stuti there are high level pe there are three categories of Hindu our whatever we do there is a mantra for example Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha that is mantra anything coming from Ved is mantra Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam that is mantra so mantra is a phonetic sequence there is a way Anushtup Trishtup there are a lot of chandar there but then shlok first time Valmiki came up with oh there is an emotion in this so Ramayana and Mahabharata in shlok form they are not mantra that's why Bhagavad Gita is shlok हम लोग बोलते हैं भगवद गीता के श्लोक याद किए and then so this one this was the first kavya first poetry written that's why it is called Adi Kavya Ramayana and Valmiki is Adi Kavi because till that those rishi mantra drashta because they used to see the mantra now this is first time the shlok has come that's why Ramayana is so Brahmaji says we'll just move forward right there is one beautiful shlok in Valmiki Ramayana where Brahmaji is saying to Valmiki to write it you will feel good write it and then he says यावत् स्थास्यन्ति गिरयः सरितश्च महीतले तावत् रामायण कथा लोकेषु प्रचरिष्यति and what he's saying यावत् स्थास्यन्ति गिरयः as long as mountains are the giri means mountain as long as mountains will be there on this as long as sarita rivers will be there on this earth तावत् रामायण कथा लोकेषु till then Ramayana Katha Lokeshu Pracharisyati till then it will prevail for the lok, for the people. Whatever. Verma said, look at this. As of today, there is our one of our group, Hindu Action Group in Washington, D.C., they work very actively. They have done a very wonderful job. They have collected 28 countries are still reading Ramayana. 28 countries playing Ram Leela some other way, and non-Hindu countries like Cambodia, Indonesia, all those, there are 28 countries. They are playing Ramayana, they are reading Ramayana in a very different way. Valmiki ji said that till the mountains will be there, till the rivers will be there on this earth, Ram Katha will be there for lok, for people. And of course, it's benefiting. If it doesn't benefit, nobody would read it. So 28 countries. In fact, that our group, Hindu Action Group, they're using Ram Katha, Ramayana as a tool to bring all those countries together in Washington, D.C. They made a presentation. I was part of that. So bringing all those countries around Ramayana and building some relationship with Bharat. This is Ram Katha. In fact, Buddhist people, I have a lot of Buddhist friends here in Pittsburgh. They're mostly from Sri Lanka or Tibet. And they say that if you want to be a Buddhist monk, you have to read Ramayana and Mahabharata in Sanskrit. Jain Parampara, if you want to become a Jain Muni, you have to read Ramayana. There is a Jain Ramayana. So Ramayana, because of the character Ram, and that's what Valmiki is saying, you don't just write it, Brahmaji keh rahe, you write it, it will remain. And it was statements to, it is remaining. And it, of course, it will take different form, like Tulsidas ji will put in his form. We are talking Ramayana. I teach Ramayana to kids in Vidya Mandir class, Balvihar. I have to present in a very, because these are like 8 or 10-year-old American born kids. I mean, I cannot just bring everything to them. So but the theme is one, the character is one, the values are one, the people are same, places are same. Only the presentation will be different. So that is allowed. And that's for Ramayana. So what Vermaji says, still true. So that is one about the Ramayana. We can say the glory of Ramayana, right? So we'll for a few more minutes. Now we'll move forward to. So I said, I think last time I was talking to a couple of you, and some people said, we'll enjoy this. I mean, everybody thinks that it's Ramayana. And I said, I think we should enjoy that. And I told them, you have bought a round trip ticket. We'll go from Ayodhya, go to Lanka and come back. And I will make sure we'll be back to Ayodhya in 12 weeks, right? So it's a round trip ticket, don't worry. We'll make the yatra and come back. Oh, Pushpak Viman, the beauty of that Pushpak Viman was, there was no seat assigned. Not even like southwest भी ऊपर था वो बीच में कोई सुग्री I want to come भगवान राम वो विभीषण you also come Jamban you also come Angad you also come और बीच में लोग हम भी चलेंगे वो भी सब Pushpa Viman everybody said and came to Ayodhya. So we'll come back to Ayodhya, right, in 12 weeks. So Pushpa Viman में बहुत जगह है, so no problem, right? So that is, so now before today's time we end, at least we enter into Ayodhya. I know many of us have recently visited Ayodhya, so it is very fresh in mind. And I went to Ayodhya when, in fact, when that structure was there. So I was part of some of those processions in 1983-84. So I have seen Ayodhya when Bhagwan Ram is sitting in a little small jail. So yeah, so we have Ayodhya is very close to us. So now we'll enter into Balkand, I would say, right? But again, I'm saying, because this is all, we have to say Balkand, Ayodhya because there is a reason, but Valmiki didn't say, oh, we are stopping. It's our rishis later on, they title it, which for a purpose, right? For a meaningful reason, right? So that we read that. So now let's, before when Bhagwan Ram comes to this earth, what is Ayodhya? Let's see. Valmiki ji has defined. Tulsidas ji he is not getting too much into that geography and that governance part of it. But Valmiki is doing that. Valmiki ji, if you read Valmiki, he talks about government, how the mantri will behave. Tulsidas ji doesn't worry much about mantri and all those things, because Tulsidas ji's focus is Bhagwan Ram and Sita. But Valmiki ji does that, which is also required. So here in that fifth chapter of Balkand, which is, so there is a shlok. We'll start with Ayodhya, because Ayodhya ji is, for us it is, I mean, हम तो अयोध्या जी ही बोलते थे पहले भी, अभी भी, when I was in Lucknow, so we used to go, कहाँ जा रहे हो भाई? अयोध्या जी जा रहे हैं, it's like that. The way they say अयोध्या जी जा रहे हैं, एक एक अंदर से एक भाव है, एक भक्ति, अयोध्या जा रहे हैं, it's like that. अयोध्या, एक्चुअली वहाँ अयोध्या ही बोलते हैं, अयोध्या में नहीं, अयोध्या जी जा रहे हैं. तो so that अयोध्या for us it is a तीर्थ, भगवान राम की जन्मभूमि है. Anyway, so here there is a shlok, Valmiki ji describe what is Ayodhya. कौशलो नाम मुदितः स्फीतो जनपदो महान निविष्टः सरयू तीरे प्रभुत प्रभुत धन धान्यवान. He's saying Kaushal, there is a place, a region, we can say Kaushal. India में, historic India, some of us know, like regionals are there. So Kaushal, and there was like that Janakpuri, so Janak, Vede, and there are many regions like Panchal and all those. So see, he says Kaushal was a place, and in that, on the banks of Saryu River. Saryu का नाम सुनते ही मन में एक, I mean, I have seen Saryu, I have taken bath in Saryu. Bath, it is a wrong word. My nana, my grandfather never used to like that, right? Hey, don't take bath. It is your mother, right? You take the blessing from mother. Yeah, that language is wrong, but we say that bath. He said, no, you don't take bath. This is your mother. You're not taking bath. You're taking the blessing. In fact, my grandfather, I remember still, हम उनके साथ जाते थे तो before entering into Saryu or Ganga, he said, पहले प्रणाम करो, because you are touching with your feet. वो माँ है, प्रणाम करो. पहले हम लोग प्रणाम करते थे, and then you are not taking a bath. You are not taking, you are just taking the आशीर्वाद. So that is Saryu, right? Saryu में हम नहाते नहीं, आशीर्वाद लेते. So Saryu तीरे, and प्रभुत धन्य धन्यवान, and it was very prosperous state, Kaushal. प्रभुत धन्य धन्यवान, lot of prosperity was there. And then he says आगे, अयोध्या नाम नगरी तत्र शीला लोक विश्रुता मनुना मानवेंद्रे वेंद्रेण या पुरी निर्मिता स्वयं. He says Ayodhya Nagari was built by Manu himself, Manu Maharaj. Ram's, we can go back, but Ram's original, like हम सबके भी ancestors, Manu Shatrupa. So Manu Maharaj himself built that city, Ayodhya Nagari. So it is that ancient. In fact, last time there was some I think someone from Philippines that came, and his wife, she said that her great grandmother from Ayodhya. They are in Philippines now. So I was reading some political figure, but it's very ancient city. So that's what he's saying about Ayodhya, and then describing Ayodhya ki वहाँ पर all kind of art and artifacts were there. People were, everybody was busy doing something. Everybody was, actually the word he has used, kapata toranvati suvibhaktam antaparanam. He's saying that shops have those toran. You know, he's describing the shops. There are shops. We can imagine in India, like toran are there then, and there are beautiful shops. Shilpis are busy creating their art and art crafts. A lot of description of, we can skip some of that, yeah. Okay, now what he is saying, tasmin purvare drashta dharmatmano bahushrata nara tushta dhane sveruluddha satyavadina. In that city, Ayodhya, the people living in Ayodhya, most of, like all of them are prasanna. I mean, obviously that's what the goal. When Gandhiji was writing Hind Swaraj, there is a small booklet Gandhiji wrote way before he came to India. Gandhiji had, and of course, Swaraj word was already there. It was popularized. Gandhiji came later in that picture. But before that, Swaraj was there. Bal Gangadhar Tilak gave that word. Then Gandhiji came, and he was fond of Ramayana from childhood days. Very fond of Ramayana. So he said, why don't we have Ramraj? That was the term tossed by Gandhiji. Then everybody we use, and it's good, nothing wrong in that. So Gandhiji said, we can have Ramraj. Swaraj means Ramraj. That's what, because he read Ramayana, and these things are written in what happens in Ramraj or Ayodhya. अभी तो Ramraj तो आया नहीं, अभी तो it is still Dasharaj Raj. We'll see, right? So he's saying Dharmatma Bahushrut. Bahushrut means they are dharmatma. Everybody is nirlobh, satyavadi. All these terms are used, and they are satisfied within themselves. They are not like fighting for our rights and duties. So that, and a big description there. Nana hita agnir yajva nakshudro na vana taskaraha kashchid asidev ayodhyayam na chavrato na sankaraha. There was no one in Ayodhya who was not doing Agnihotra Yajna. So now he is not talking about Agnihotra and Yajna. When we think Agnihotra Yajna is doing that fire oblation. Yajna means Panchamahayajna also. Every day we do 5. Brahma Yajna, Dev, Rishi Yajna, Pitra Yajna, Bhuti Yajna, and Manushya Yajna. All those Yajna. So Bhagavan says that there is no one who is not doing Yajna every day. And there is no taskar. Taskar means the thief. Like taskar is that smugglers, right? So he's saying that Sanskrit word is there. Na taskara. There was nobody is doing that smuggling, because everybody has everything, right? And the kingdom provides, right? The Raja. And there was no Varna Sankar. Varna Sankar means it's a word in Sanskrit, the broken families or unorganized family system, which we see in this world. It's that's very pathetic, because, and we are all worried about that, right? Everybody, not only just Hindus, every people who feel like the society, they're worried about this broken family structure. That is Varna Sankar. He says they were not there, like, and of course, like Yajna karne wale. Yeah, and then further I'll read one more, and then we'll do that Ram Nam Dhyan today. That is important, right? Reading Ramayana, and I always feel that, and it is true. No, what I feel, it is correct also. That's the reason it is that Brahmaji says that it will sustain not because of Katha. Everybody knows Katha. There was one guy in the village. He said, Ramayana, have you read Ramayana? He said, yeah, I read Ramayana. What is Ramayana? He said, very simple, one line I can explain. So one line is such a big 24,000 shlok, Valmiki and 1,000 Tulsidas ji. He said, yeah. So he said in like local bhasha, right? एक राम था एक रावण ना, एक क्षत्रिय था एक ब्राह्मण ना, उसने उसकी नार चुराई, उसने उसको मारा, तुलसीदास जी लिख गए हाल सारा, रामायण पूरी हो गई. That's correct. There is a Ravan, उन्होंने नार चुराई, उन्होंने मारा, रामायण खत्म हो गई. So that is true. But when we read Ramayana, the characters comes into us, not the katha. Through katha, the learning. My Guruji used to say, my Swamiji, he used to say that Ram, Hindi में, but I'll translate English. राम ने जो किया वो करो, जो राम ने किया वो करो. Follow what Ram did. But who will tell you what to do, how to do that? एक और आएंगे उसके बाद. राम ने कहीं नहीं बोला कि मैं ये कर रहा हूं तुम करो. राम करते चले गए. बट उसके बाद एक और आएंगे. उन्होंने आया कि मैं जो कह रहा हूं वो करो. कृष्ण आएंगे. तो राम ने जो किया जो करो, और कृष्ण ने जो कहा वो करो. कृष्ण ने कहा ऐसे करना है. राम ने कहीं नहीं बोला धर्म. आप राम ने, कृष्ण कह रहे हैं धर्म परित्राणाय साधु नाम से, धर्म रक्षा करो, धर्म युद्ध करो. कृष्ण कहते हैं, राम कहीं नहीं बोलते. राम तो कोई बोलते ही नहीं है क्या करो. ही जस्ट डूइंग इट. सो दैट्स व्हाट माय गुरु जी, कि राम ने करा जो करो, और कृष्ण ने कहा जो करो. So so Ramayana is like that. When we read Ramayana, इसलिए we need to read Ramayana and Mahabharata. We cannot read the whole, but Bhagavad Gita, because when we read Ramayana, we know what is our values, what is Sanatan Dharma, what is the life. And when we read Bhagavad Gita, it's like download the app and implement it. So Bhagavad Gita is a consultant who know how to implement. Consultants get very high price because they know how to implement the system anywhere, not software anywhere, lawyer. So Gita is like that. It tells you how to implement this. So Ramayana Katha पढ़ के आनंद लें अमृत, and then how to consume that amrit, that Gita tells. That's Ramayana, Mahabharata and Gita tells. So Ram का किया और कृष्ण का कहा. That is the goal. So now, okay, so we have reached to Ayodhya, and we'll read one more shloka and we'll do that, right? Anyway, no, we'll continue next time. Let's do Bhagavan ki stuti. So I'll share that same screen. Last time time was less, so I didn't do. But what goal here is that we'll chant Bhagwan Ram's name. Okay, you see my screen? And then, as I said, like we do the Panch Tattva Dhyan, again. And there is a very small booklet written by Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji, Ashvidya Gurukulam, my Guruji. He is no more. There is a very small booklet, and he talks about the power and the vidhi of jap. Very small booklet. I have read many places what the jap is, but nothing better than what Dayanand ji has written wonderfully. And it is like he's like crossing the neuroscience also in that. It's like that. But for the power of jap. And the most powerful mantra we can say jap for Ram. This is the smallest mantra. There's nothing you need to even memorize that, right? And that Ram, that's why I say Ram Nam Jap is Adbhut. It has a power to just take away. Again, it's not take away your material suffering. That is your own prarabdha. Mana Shanti. That is pakka. That is guarantee. That's what our rishis have said. So we'll do Ram Jap and then again Panchatattva Dhyan and then Bhagwan Ram in our Manas. That is Ramcharit Manas. Okay. Ram Ram Jaya Sita Ram. You can repeat after me and without even of mute. Ram Ram Jaya Raja Ram. शुद्ध ब्रह्म परात्पर राम कालात्मक परमेश्वर राम कौशल्या सुखवर्धन राम श्रीमत दशरथ नंदन राम शबरी दत्त फलाशन राम हनुमत सेवित निज पद राम समस्त लोकोधारक राम धर्म स्थापन तत्पर राम 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 जय सीता राम 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 जय राजा राम. So this is Ramayana. I mean, you look at all these 7 or 8 verses, everything is described with Bhagwan Ram's life. Sometime we'll go into detail of this. Every line has a lot of meaning. Some other time will be your time. So now we are in Ramayana. We have Bhagwan's Ram. So we'll sit for again then Dhyan. We don't do Dhyan, we sit for Dhyan. Dhyan happens. If we create the condition, Dhyan happens. We don't do Dhyan. Human mind has no capacity to do Dhyan. It is Parameshwar decides when Dhyan happens. So only thing what I can do, I can create a possibility or I can create an environment where Parameshwar comes, and that is Dhyan. So that's here. So again, this is Panchatattva Dhyan means most of the time our 5 senses and the 5 elements outside world is 5 elements. So through 5 senses, most of the time we are interacting with the outside world, and that is disturbing because the whole world comes inside me through these 5 senses. So the Manas which should have Ramcharit has the whole sansar other than Ramcharit. So the goal here is that stop all these things outside, and then Manas will be empty. Empty in the sense not clean, and then Ramcharit come to that Manas. Manas means mind. So Panchatattva is called CBT, cognitive behavior therapy in modern terms. You can find that. So sit straight, take a deep breath, and then while doing this, we just do that shallow and slow breathing. But now ideally, if you take 5 or 6 deep breath, it slowly cools down the mind. So keep the focus on the tip of the nostril and think of Prithvi Tattva, because through nose, which is one of the Gyanendriya, Nasikara, we feel the earth. Earth means smell. So like that's why flower is representation of earth. So through nose only we feel the earth. So keep the focus on the tip of the nostril and bring image of Prithvi Tattva. It could be mountain, it could be field, tree, it could be grass, field. That's all Prithvi. और वसुधा हमारे लिए तो it is भूदेवी. Now shift focus to the tip of the tongue. Next element is Jal, and the sense organ which is Indri is Jivha. So through Jivha, we feel the jal or rasa or liquid. So keep the focus on the tip of the tongue and think of image of Jal Tattva. Could be fountain, could be Saryu River or Ramayana, right? Just bring Saryu River in mind, Saryu Mata, and then feel the tip of the tongue. Now the next sense is eyes, which is we see through eyes, we see the light or source of energy. So the best source of energy is Netra, we call it, Indriya, is Surya Bhagwan. And that's what, in fact, Bhagwan Ram is Suryavanshi. So Surya Bhagwan. So just bring the image of Surya Bhagwan in mind and keep the focus on the eyes. Netra is the third sense organ, and energy or Surya is the element. So next sense organ is skin, twacha. On twacha we feel the vayu, pavan. Because pavan we cannot see, we cannot touch, the only we can feel. For us it is pavan devata, Bajrangbali. So feel the pavan on the skin and keep the focus on the skin. In fact, we keep the focus, we can feel the pavan, even if sitting inside the room. So the next element is akash, space. We cannot see akash, we cannot touch akash. Only thing we can feel akash because of sound travels in akash. So through ear, which is the indriya, kshotra indriya, through we can hear the sound. That means there is a space where sound is traveling. So we can feel the space. Keep the focus on ear. We can hear some sound, but the goal is not to hear the sound. Goal to feel the space. So all these elements are outside, also inside me. But through these elements and after behind these five Gyanendri or sense organs, man is there. Man works with them. Man is, that's why we call it Shashtam Indri, sixth sense. So man is behind. So these indris take the man outside. Now while doing this behavior cognitive Panchatattva Dhyan, slowly we shut down these senses. When these senses are shut down, automatically mind becomes quiet. Automatic. Because feed is not coming. And now the whole crux, sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan teaching Arjun, this Paddhati. So now Bhagwan is saying now man is, there are no outside thoughts. And it takes some time practice, but it happens. When there is no thought, just observe the mind. And the one who is observing the mind is the Sakshi Chaitanya. That is our Swarup. And now when we are doing Ram Nam Dhyan, just we can say take a deep breath. Ram, 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 Ram. ओम शांति 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 ही बोली राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो हनुमान की. So whatever time we have limited time, but do it in free time, and when this manas become Ramcharitmanas. There is no outside Ramcharitmanas, and it is fact. I mean, I'm not making my own statement. This Ram Nam, and that's what our Swamiji has book or many places. In fact, Granth Sahib में तो कहते हैं नाम जपो is the first thing they say that. And Nanak himself said that when you do this way, it becomes ajapa jap. Then Ram Nam is almost playing background in our mind. And that is Amrit. That is Ramcharitmanas. So we'll continue. Next week we'll get into Dasharathji's lifestyle. And hopefully Bhagwan comes. We'll see how much we'll reach. But maybe Bhagwan will come next week when we meet, right? Janma hoga Bhagwan ka. Okay. So Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om. I will stay for a few more minutes if anybody has anything. Otherwise, you can drop. It's 10 o'clock already.